bio. We off the record.
With you there, but if you're a coach, do you take that chance?
Yes. You can reach us at the Off the Record Show at gmail.com. Anthony Adebayo, and the most accurate sports coverage. Scotty B's Fantasy 5.
We're different from any other sport.
His sophomore year. Comes back and says, you know what?
And your boy, Scotty B. We off the record. We off the record. What up?
What's up, man? How you doing, man? How's everything going?
Everything's good. Happy holidays, man.
Definitely.
This is Off the Record. I'm Anthony Adebayo.
Where's Scotty B?
Hi. So, we back. Oh, we recorded last. I forgot. Sometimes the days I forgot we recorded Christmas Eve. Again, shout out to Moo and shout out to Phil for joining us during that time. But the season is going. But unfortunately, we got some bad news. As I'm sure everyone knows, but if you don't know, the legendary coach, analyst, football player John Madden passed away yesterday. And they just had his documentary on, which was wilder. But yeah, so personally, I say shout out and rest in peace to John Madden.
Definitely rest in peace, John Madden. I think, at least from my standpoint, and maybe it's a little bit selfish, and I don't want to stir too much of a debate. I don't think it's a more influential person in football, as far as I'm concerned, than John Madden.
Yeah.
Just, I think we're at that right age to where we can remember when he was at the height of his broadcasting. His coaching days, predates me a little bit, but I've seen enough highlights. But definitely the Madden football game, I think, even made more people get more involved in football because it was able to break it down a lot better. I definitely think his Madden game increased the popularity of football
absolutely
in our age bracket.
No, I definitely I agree. Between the game, between him, commentating, because when he was at his I don't even want to say peak, but when he was going, we were young, probably most of us just started watching the game, and he helped people understand the game, and it was just certain things that you just didn't get from regular broadcasts, and don't let it be a blowout, because he'll find the smallest paper on the screen, circle it on the teleprompter, all sorts of things. But I think that what you said isn't really an overstatement. He probably is the most influential person in regards to football that you can think of, and that might be more than Vince Lombardi.
I mean, yeah. So it's like different facets of football, right? So you got like on the field winning and contributions to the game. So he was a successful coach. I mean, he's got the highest winning percentage of any coach that's coached over 100 games. So I think his contribution to football, you can't downplay that. But was he the most influential coach of all time? No. There's a lot of people that have surpassed him in that regards. But he held his own for the 10-year period that he did coach. Then go into his broadcaster, right? So, like you said, the way that he was able to break down what happened on each play and during each game, you're starting to see more of a trend of broadcasting going to that now. So you see like the little like shades of like Tony Romo. You see what like Peyton Manning and Eli are doing, and a lot of true hardcore fans really appreciate that analysis. So he was one of the first people to break football down into the simplest form, to where if you're a 10-year-old or you're an 11-year-old, you can watch what's going on, and he was able to make you understand what each team was trying to do. So I definitely would say, as a broadcaster, he's up there, and just alone what he's done in extending the popularity of football. I mean, you've got Madden and you got fantasy football, right? So fantasy football in itself, I think, has done a lot to extend the popularity of football. But prior to that, it's Madden. Hands down. And some people would tell you that Madden has been more influential in football than fantasy football, with just increasing the popularity, getting it into everybody's household. I mean, we all know it, and I'm not going to say that this is too far-fetched, but a lot of people probably didn't know of his career as a coach, or really didn't know too much of him as a broadcaster. But you say Madden, it's like, oh yeah, that's the
Video
best
game.
football game
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah, I mean, Madden has ultimately became like a $1 million business in its own. Like the game itself, people get paid to play that game. Whether it's a tournament, whether it's like different leagues, things of that nature. So he definitely changed the game there. And to an extent, when fantasy football, it comes from like almost like a video game type aspect when you have fantasy, because back in the day you could like take a bunch of guys off of a team and put them on a team on a video game, and then lo and behold, here comes fantasy football, where people are we have our leagues, and it's so much easier now to do, because and just like the game, and just like fantasy, it helps people learn the game. It helps people learn the game just from playing, so and that was the other thing with Madden. He didn't get on the plane. He always had his Madden cruiser. They show it pretty much every week. The Madden cruiser. I always wanted to either check out the inside of a Madden cruiser, or like ride on like the Madden cruiser, because it was something you saw and it was like, dang. But yeah.
If you did anything relevant in football, you got interviewed on the Madden cruiser. And you see it Sunday morning. You see whoever it was, whether it was the coach, whether it was the star player, or whoever, and they would hop on the bus and they would chop it up with them. And to even take this a step further, and I think most people would agree with this, you had Techno Bowl, Joe Montana football, and then for a good solid 20 years, Madden. Like there was no other football game. I mean, they've had a couple of like, I guess that game or
So I think it's been longer than 25 years. I mean, from the onset, I think that Madden has been like the top dog.
Like I mean, right?
I think it was like 92. Yeah, 92. Yep. And like you said, you've had other games, and people like John Elway had a football game that he was a spokesman for. His name was on it. Like you said, Joe Montana. But once Madden got there, the game was so different than every other football game. It was like, like in Tecmo Bowl. I think Tecmo Bowl is probably the next more popular football game. He probably had like 4 plays. Like on Madden, you have full playbooks.
The only reason it makes Techno Bowl, and I hate and a lot of people probably disagree with me, is you could get the Raiders and Bo Jackson was unstoppable. I mean, it just was what it was.
That is true. That is true. That is true.
Hit the diagonal up and down, and and you kill him, with it. But I mean, Joe Montana football, like I said, it had a good run, but it was nowhere near what any of the Maddens was.
That is true. So yeah, so and lastly, like Rock said, guys get mad when they rating ain't up to par. You can say the same about 2K, but football is king, right? And we'll talk about that in a little bit, where you have on Christmas Day you have football versus basketball, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But lastly, Madden, I've seen people lose friendships over that video game, over that, because it was so serious. And we're not talking about like going to the court, because I've seen people go to the court, friends go to the court, play some basketball, may fight, but you back friends. I've seen people not talk to each other for a long time over playing Madden.
Look, one of my best fights that I've ever seen has revolved around the Madden game. It was some Old English beer, a Madden game, and some girls.
Oh boy!
And it went down, man. It went down. And I think the girls had a factor in making the guys think that they were better at the game, and pump each other up, pause, to I can beat you. And then once the game got on, it was a wrap, man. It was ugly. It was really, really, really ugly. And it all centered around Madden. Somebody told me today that they were a top 5 Madden player. It's people that really legitimately think that they are top 5 Madden players, and you meet them at least once a month.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So again, shout out to John Madden, Coach Madden. I think everybody has, I guess, some sort of different story, whether they're younger than us or older than us. They have some sort of story that involves Madden, whether it's the older guys like someone like your dad, watching him coach or seeing him coach, being around that time, or I don't know anyone that's seen him play like in play, but you see some of the like the highlights and things of that nature. But from him commentating and changing the game to the actual game itself, this man got the likes of like Lawrence Taylor to actually do interviews and everything for a documentary for him. And I don't even remember the last time I've seen Lawrence Taylor on TV, aside from the stupidness. But even that, we haven't seen Lawrence Taylor on ATV in maybe a decade. And to have him on that documentary says a lot about, John Madden and who he was and what he did. And, he'll definitely be missed. And, So let's stay with football. Well. So we'll talk about some of the I think it's only right that we start with the Cowboys. I don't like to really talk about the Cowboys. It's my team and everything. I don't really like to talk about them. But my gosh, playing against a rival at home, with all the talk, I don't think anyone really thought that we were going to lose this game, but I don't think anyone expected this. What are your thoughts on the game from Sunday?
No, I absolutely expected it. I want to tell you why. The last game was ugly. It just the score looked a lot closer than it really was. I mean, the last game had all the makings of a beatdown. So for them to come out and do that this game, it didn't surprise me. I mean, they clinched the playoffs. I mean, they're a good team. I think that they're a force to be reckoned with in the NFC. And we'll just see where it goes from there. I mean, if they stay healthy.
So let me ask you a question. Can the Cowboys make it to the Super Bowl? I'm asking you.
Yes, I think they can. I think if you look at the NFC right now, you got the Buccaneers. They're not really healthy, so you know, that's a wild factor. You got the Rams that sometimes I'm sold on them, sometimes I'm not. You got the Cardinals that are kind of in the free fall. The Eagles, even though they're in the hunt and I like what they're doing, you know, they're not really. I wouldn't say a competition for them. It's just, yeah. I mean, the Packers.
What about the 49ers?
I think we could compete with them. But I mean, again, if you look at the record, the Cowboys are 11-4, the 49ers are 8-7. I mean, I think most people watching would say, you know, they would bet their money on the Cowboys than they did the 49ers.
Right. So the 49ers, and we'll get back to everything else, but the 49ers are pretty scary. I think that they actually I can see San Francisco, Dallas in the NFC Championship. All jokes aside, I mean, if they could get a little bit more healthy, I can definitely see 49ers Cowboys in the NFC Championship, and then we're gonna have a little talk. We're definitely gonna have a little talk at that moment. But I'm not one to like toot my own horn, but I said 12-5, right? And they could easily go 13-4. I mean, with these teams that we have left, the Cardinals and the Eagles could definitely beat both of those teams. And the problem is, will they sit guys in week 18 if the Packers can't clinch until that time? You know, they would have to win out, because if they lose one and the Cowboys win out, I mean, the Cowboys will have the 1 seed, and I think that is actually pretty important for the Cowboys, for any of those top 5 teams in the NFC. That number 1 seed is important because, I mean, shoot, you never know. You don't know if someone gets COVID. You know, because you're pretty much adding COVID to the injury list now. You know, and and it's like, man, you just never know who's gonna have what, you know, going into the next game.
And that's what I was about to say is, so right now, you look at the NFC, like we just said, right? So you got like 3 or 4 teams that are, or maybe 5 teams that people are like, okay, they all have a legitimate shot. But then the factor, like you said, and then the COVID. I mean, you just don't know from week to week who's going to sit out, and it's not just impacting. I guess, like, it sounds stupid, but COVID can affect anybody. It can have your it can hit your quarterback room. It can hit your offensive line. It can hit your defense. And the NFL is really hell bent on, we got to finish the season. Like the NFL, they're not quite as bad as the NBA, but the NFL is like, you know what, we're going to play these games. We don't care who you have on your roster that has COVID. Tough shit. You got to figure it out. And with that sort of wild card, I mean, it's tough to say. Like, who's to say the Cowboys don't get to the conference finals? I mean, not finals, but and then COVID strikes. And I'm not wishing that
Right.
on your team. I don't want that to go with your team, but that
Right.
changes everything.
Absolutely.
So it becomes the question too: is will this year have an asterisk on it?
Nah, I don't think so. Mainly because everybody's dealing with it, and I wouldn't say a team if they, because here's the thing: if you win a championship, you're earning it. Especially this year, you're earning it. It's not like it's given to someone. Yeah, someone may miss, but what if that same person broke their leg? I mean, they were out anyway. Or I guess that's a bit extreme, but what if they were out on an injury? If they got injured and they were out, so you wouldn't put an asterisk there. So I don't because if the game is played, then the game is played, and you earn that championship. Now, if you have someone, if you have someone go out with COVID, I guess the good thing now is that the CDC done lowered the return time from 10 days to 5 days. So it's almost highly unlikely, depending on the day, of course, to when they test positive. If you test positive on a Monday, you still have an opportunity to play if your game is on Sunday or even the following Monday. So it helps. It really helps for the unvaccinated players, which I kind of like. I don't like it as much, because I mean, if you're healthy enough to get vaccinated, you should just get vaccinated. I mean, I know we talked about Cole Beasley last year, but again, it's this that little change right there, those 5 days, that's going to play a huge part in how the games are played also.
So it just, and maybe this might be a little bit off, a little bit too off key, but when they changed the rules or the protocol, it made me think, why even have a protocol? I mean, it just, so if you're going to say that unvaccinated players get to sit in there as long as vaccinated players, I think it's something to where something about if you do 2 negatives tests, like you can get out sooner. And it just really, when I read it, I just thought, just why don't you just lift it and just say, you know what? We don't care. We want the money. We want to finish the season and just go about it.
So, I mean, I won't say that, right? They're following the CDC, right? I mean, that's where they're the scientists, and they're ultimately making the call. But I don't. So that's why I don't think it's all. Well, let's not get it twisted. It is mainly about the money, but I don't think that I do think that the NFL is still looking out for the best interest of the players to an extent. Like they're following the guidelines that the CDC are laying out. To keep it at 10 days. That's tough, right? If they're saying that someone will be healthy in 5 days,
So one thing I will point out, right? So last year, when all this was going on, we had outbreaks, and they had to move like games and this, that, and the third, but it wasn't as many like star players that were coming down with it. Like like this year, like it's been some major stars and key critical positions that have had to sit down because of this. I mean, shoot, you look at basketball. I mean, my God, I'm waiting on the Wizards to call me. I'm like, God, everybody could get a 10-day contract.
Yeah.
Like, if you just even play in the league and you look like you still play pickup ball, like you can get on. It's like,
they pay any and everybody is getting on. Honestly, if you're an agent for an NBA player right now, you should definitely be your phone should be ringing nonstop. Even if like you can have like a mid-grade type player, like There's no reason why they shouldn't have at least worked for like 10 days. No reason. No
They said
reason.
my man Isaiah Thomas. They said he was on a 10-day contract in April. Then they put him with the Lakers. He was on a 10-day contract. That joint expired. Now he with Dallas.
Now he with Dallas. Isaiah Thomas probably deserves a contract throughout the rest of the season, but I don't know, man. I feel like he's never recovered since the whole thing with Boston. So I don't know. But it's one thing I do want to get into before we get to the winner of the week. Football versus basketball. Like, I think we both can agree that football is king, right? So you had a game, you had 2 football games and 5 NBA games, right? So the first game was Green Bay versus Cleveland, which, for the most part, those are 2 pretty good 2-story franchises. I mean, Cleveland may not have won a lot, like, well, they're decent now. They went through a stretch where they were as bad as the Lions. But as far as the story franchise, they've been around for a long time, even though they left and came back, whatever. The second game was the Colts versus the Cardinals. Now, that game is important to me because that game came on when the Brooklyn Nets were playing the Los Angeles Lakers, and the ratings for the Colts versus the Cardinals, it was the second highest rated game this season, and I think it was 4 times. It had 4 times the viewers of the Lakers versus the Nets. Now, I think and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but the Lakers are the standard in the NBA. I would think that the Lakers are considered the standard. The Nets, they have a good team, but I know Kevin Durant didn't play and Kyrie didn't play. But nonetheless, James Harden played, LeBron played, Russell Westbrook played, Carmelo played. So you had star power there, and you had the NFL Colts versus the Cardinals, which it was a good game. And I have to admit, I was watching that game over that Lakers game. I didn't even really want to see that game. So is there any way, because next year Christmas is on a Sunday, is there any way that the NBA can compete? Because that's their day. For the NBA, Christmas Day is their day. That's like their unofficial start of their season. Next year is on a Sunday. Does the NFL move their games to Saturday, or what happens? Because if you have 5 NBA games and a whole slate of NFL games, what is going to happen? Because I think personally that the NFL won't play their full slate of games on Christmas next year.
So it's 2 things, right? Number one, I'd be interested to see what's happened in the past with Christmas falling on Sunday. Like, what did they do in the past? The second thing is NBA cannot compete with the NFL. You have NBA fans like myself, you, some of the people listening, that are going to probably like flip between the games, and you got hardcore Laker fans that are going to watch the Laker game, man, and appreciate the star power and appreciate the NBA on Christmas. But just with everything that has been going on, it appeared like the NBA was watered down this year. And I said this last week. I said, with all these players that are playing on a 10-day contract, it doesn't have the same feel as it normally does. I mean, now, if you've got a healthy Anthony Davis, you got Russell Westbrook, you got LeBron. I mean, the things that the marketing and whoever does the scheduling was envisioning versus a Kyrie, a Harden, Kevin Durant, and you got the Lakers at number 1 in the West, and you got the Nets at number 1 in the East, and you get that type of a showdown. Oh yeah, everybody is tuned in, they're locked in, It means something, but you don't even have all the marquee players playing in it. Then you look
Right.
at football, which, like I said, is ultimately the dominant sport anyway. And you look at the Colts, which are on a magnificent run to the playoffs. They probably have the best running back player. And then you look at the Cardinals, which they have a fairly good team. I mean, shoot, they're top of, well, not top of the division anymore, but they for the most part have a pretty successful season. A lot of people were tuned in on that, man.
Yeah. So I agree there. Now my only thing is this, right? With football on a Sunday, that is pretty much 9 or 10 hours of football. You got from 1 pretty much to 11 pretty much for that Sunday night game. I don't know with everything that goes on Christmas. I don't know if the NFL is gonna want to consume someone's day because Christmas. So I think what will happen, it'll be just the opposite of this year. So they played their Sunday games. I think what's gonna happen is you're gonna have what, 9 games on Saturday, 2 or 3 games on Sunday, and then you have your Monday night game. I think that they would do that, and the NBA will still go on business as usual. Not because they can't, but because if I personally, and it's just, I don't have any data to back me up. I just in a general sense, if you have all those games on that day, knowing that people are traveling with family, your viewership is going to be down. Maybe not for all the games. Like the Sunday night game next year, it's still going to be what it is. I mean, they should just make next Christmas like they do Thanksgiving.
So one thing that I think that contributes to the NFL's success this year is the gambling has been game changing. I think the fact that you could just pull up your phone, you look at the game, and you just say, you know what, I want to bet on the next play. I want to put $1 here, and maybe I make $1. Or if you're a big time gambler, you can put $20. Well, whatever it is, I think that's increased engagement in the NFL too. The downside to basketball right now, and it'll catch up as all the players will get there, is too risky to bet on the players right now, because you really don't know who's playing. You got like a lot of no names, like the teams. It's just a wild factor. I mean, the team could be clearly better, but if they've got 5 players in the protocol, and you don't know what 5 players they picked up that afternoon. I mean, shoot, I was watching the Miami Wizard game yesterday. I forget the guy's name. They said they signed him that afternoon. He got on a plane that afternoon. He met the team at shoot around, and he was playing.
Oh man,
yo, that's what's going on in the NBA right now, man.
Yeah, it's wild with the NBA. And I think part of that also is there's less moving parts than in the NFL. Even though you have the G League and some of these guys can just get called up, it's still difficult. But even with that being said, I think that the NFL has done a good job. Even now, I will say the Monday night game was that wasn't a good game. But if both teams were at full strength, I still don't think it would have been that great of a game. The Dolphins versus the Saints.
Yeah, but they were down to So let's put this in perspective, right? They were down to their 4th string quarterback,
right,
and their 5th string tackles. I
thought it was 7 string tackles.
He said 7 string tackles?
I think it was 7 string.
Yeah, whatever it was, it was pretty.
Yeah, absolutely, and that affects the gameplay. But I think if we go around looking, some of these games, it's affected the games tremendously. But for whatever reason, and I don't know if it's because maybe people think that football is more entertaining, but it seems like the games do seem still competitive. They seem more entertaining than some of these NBA games that don't seem as entertaining when you have somebody getting picked up that day. I don't know. It's just I don't know. But then you look at the Washington football team, and they were down some people, but they still had their stars there. Well, I don't know if you call them stars, but they still had some of their better players at the game. I mean, they just got boat raced, in Baltimore, even with Baltimore missing their top two quarterbacks, Josh Johnson came in there and he didn't look bad. He didn't look bad. I mean, it was hard for him to compete, but he still competed and he still put them in somewhat, not necessarily a position to win, but he had them still respectable.
Right.
So
most definitely. And I will say this, the replacement players in football have done, to your point, to make the games a lot better. They've done a more competitive job. I mean, they've done a better job. I mean, you look at Josh Johnson, I believe he almost threw for 300 yards. I mean, and I mean, he's the journeyman of the century. I mean, I think they wrote an article he had played for 17 different teams or something like that. And I mean, but he's always there and he's always ready. And I forgot it was some crazy amount of camps that he had been in. But yeah, he is definitely the ultimate pro. And I mean, he came in there and he showed out.
Yeah. I mean, and so yeah, shout out to him. But I can't wait to that next year. I really do want to see what the NFL and the NBA are going to do, because there was a time where the NFL used to move their games around the World Series. Now the World Series moves their games around, so they're not playing. So they're so the championship ends during the week, whether it's a Tuesday, Wednesday. When the Nationals won the World Series in Game 7, it was a Wednesday. When the Braves won this year, I believe it was a Tuesday. They're staying as far away from the NFL. they staying as far away from the NFL as possible for their big stage type things. And I mean that's a testament to what the NFL has done.
So I got a question for you, because I meant to ask you this earlier. So if you don't know, me and Mr. Anthony over there, we've got a constant debate about Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow and which one is the better quarterback. And this is
before you ask this question, could you please not try and sway the judges? But you go ahead and ask your question.
No. So I want to take it a whole different route, right? And
okay.
This comes from Monday night, right? So this all started with Tua versus Herbert. It had really nothing to do with Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow really just caught a stray in this argument, and I think you at some point brought Joe Burrow in because you felt like, okay, they're going a little bit too hard for Herbert. Pause. Let me bring in Joe Burrow into the argument. But let's get back to the original premise. I just want to know this. It's okay if you can admit that you were wrong prior or anything like that. I feel you. You would still take Tua over Justin Herbert?
Tua's fine. All right, so Tua's finally healthy, and So here's the thing. All right, so right now, no, I would not take Tua over Herbert.
Okay.
But last year, I would have still taken Tua over Herbert, right? I mean, and and here's the thing. Tua is still an unwritten book. Tua is still an unwritten book. I mean, watch what I tell you. I mean, he's won what, 7 games in a row now? And yeah, I know they're gonna say, oh, Mac Jones won 7, but Mac Jones is a good quarterback too. I personally think that it had Tua not gotten hurt that last year at Alabama, his career would definitely have taken off. It would definitely have a different trajectory, right? I think that because he would have had more tape, he would have had more film, and he wouldn't have had that injury. But as we sit right here, I would take Herbert before Tua. What I won't do, what I will not do, what's not gonna happen is me taking Herbert over Burrow. It's not happening. It's not happening. It's not happening. One Burrow. All right, so yes, Herbert won the matchup a couple of weeks ago. It wasn't because of Burrow. They were going toe to toe. Now, if the defense don't get the damn stops, then what you want him to do? He don't play defense. Now, saying this, I bet you if they was to play this weekend, Cincinnati's beating them.
I mean, so that argument is the Chargers are on a dangerous spiral. We thought the Chargers were going to be better than what they are. I mean, I believe they're 8-7 right now. Just lost to the Texans. So right now, I mean, the Bengals are hot. I mean, they're a hot team. I mean, Baltimore. Somebody brought up that Baltimore has like a bad secondary. Baltimore still, in my opinion, is a pretty good team.
They're a lot better than the Texans.
Yeah, a lot better than the Texans. And for that Cincinnati team to go in there and beat the Ravens, I mean, that says a lot about that Cincinnati team. We're going to have to look out for them. Now, as far as Herbert being better than Burrow, I personally like Herbert better. And that's not to take away from Burrow. I just have to see more. Huh?
No, I agree with you there. As far as like the same on the other, I'm not taking anything from Herbert. So last year Herbert had better weapons, right?
Huh?
This year, I think Burrow. I think his weapons are playing better. You know, he got a rookie in Jamar Chase who he has a rapport with. But T. Higgins, I tell you what, I don't know if there's a team in the AFC that has better skill position weapons, better weapons at the skill positions than Cincinnati, and that includes Kansas City. Because after you get past Hill and Kelsey, you ain't got nothing. You ain't got nothing to really write home about that's better than what the Bengals got.
So, I'll be remiss if I didn't get this off my chest. I didn't really do the winner of the week, but I had I had something to say. It wasn't. I don't need the intro. I'm just gonna go straight into it.
Oh boy,
Jalen Hurts for the Philadelphia Eagles. I like Jalen Hurts, and I don't feel like Jalen Hurts is getting the respect that he deserves.
Okay.
The Eagles next year have 3 first-round draft picks. They have a lot of draft capital. They have more draft capital than anybody. So right now the question is, do we spend one of those picks on a quarterback, or do we build around Jalen Hurts? And I'm here to tell everybody, you build around Jalen Hurts. And this is why. You build it around Baker Mayfield. Folks, build it around Josh Allen. You build around all these other quarterbacks. Give that guy some weapons. Build the team. You've got the offensive line. Get some players in there and evaluate the guy after that. It is not fair to just say this year that he's the reason why you're not better. He's kept you in a lot of those games, and he's made that Eagles team, in my opinion, overachieve. And I just think it's just outrageous to think that you need to go in a different direction. So that's for all those Eagle fans that are just out there that I don't know what some of these Eagle fans are thinking, man. Some of these Eagle fans, you know, I've been quiet about Eagle fans, but some of the Eagle fans are the dumbest fans in football, and I see it. They're on my timeline. They're at work. They're in the grocery store. I mean, it's not all of them, but the ones I've been encountering lately have just got under my skin, man. What are your thoughts?
If I had pearls on, I might have clutched them just now. So just for the record, are Eagles fans getting the win of the week?
Yeah, give it to them. Give it to them.
Okay, all right.
Give it to them.
So
I didn't really know who deserved that, but it is coming from a lot of Eagle fans, man.
That's an Eagle fan right there.
So Eagle fans.
So I'll say this. I agree with 99.2% of everything you said. The only thing I don't agree with is that they have the O-line is there already, right? I do think that they need to draft one or two O-linemen with a couple of those picks. I do think that they need some help defensively with in their secondary. Unfortunately, I don't even know how this happened. I think she got married into the Eagle. I don't even. I almost disowned her, but whatever. I do think that I don't think that they should trade. I mean, draft a quarterback in the first 4 rounds. You know, you have your quarterback. I think if anything, you bring in a veteran to assist, like a Ryan Fitzpatrick. I don't think you bring in Fitzpatrick, but a Ryan Fitzpatrick type. You know, So I think you bring in a veteran quarterback. I don't think you go get Aaron Rodgers. I don't think you go get Russell Wilson. You have a guy that you just drafted high in the second round, just a couple years ago. I think that you pick up another receiver. You have the tight end already. Now you have the Devontae Smith. You have some of those other weapons at receiver. Go get you another. Get rid of some of that extra weight on the outside and get you a vet to pair with a Josh Johnson. I mean, with a Devontae Smith. You know, I agree wholeheartedly that they should not move on from what's his name?
Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts, that's his name. I almost said, let me put this up there. So that would be a good backup plan. You know, a guy that could help tutor Jalen Hurts. So no, don't move on from Jalen Hurts. I think that you know what the coach realized, Sirianni. I think what he realized is that we need to run the ball. Since they started, you know, making it taking the emphasis and running the ball, they've rushed for like 200 yards a game, which made me laugh because it wasn't 250 a game. But 200 a game is a lot.
It's good. It's impressive.
200 a game is a lot, and that takes pressure off of a young quarterback who honestly has only really played a season. He's only really started the season.
Last season should not count as anywhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can't evaluate. That was enough to say, okay, we're going to start him. This season,
right.
Okay, he didn't stink the joint up. Like, I mean, they've got
he's had a really good season this year.
Yeah, they've got the potential to be over 500, not by much, but over 500 if you put the right pieces around him. I mean, I think this kid could flourish, but for people to just be like, yeah, he's not the guy, it's just like
that's bull.
Yeah, he has not gotten his fair shake up there. So
and you know what? I hate to say this, right? But Eagles fans have some damn nerve, yo. Like, you had Carson Wentz, and he didn't even win you a Super Bowl. But when Carson Wentz was good, they didn't appreciate him. You know what I'm saying? When Nick Foles is like a folk hero, and he's like a folk hero in Philly now because he helped win them a championship, but they didn't respect him because they had him before that, and they kind of ran him out of town. They were saying he was Chip Kelly's guy, and blah blah blah. So now they have a guy who can run, who can throw. I don't want to hear that he's not that accurate. No, he also is a second-year quarterback who's won pretty much at every level. So I feel like I feel like in order for them to be successful, they have to have this guy. Because who else? Who are you gonna get that's better? Because without killing your draft capital. Because if you're gonna get Aaron Rodgers, they're gonna milk you dry. They're gonna milk you dry. You go from three first round picks to one, if that, or they may take all three for Aaron Rodgers. The
comparison I heard today, and it almost made me throw up in my mouth. The Eagles fan told me that it reminded me of the McNabb years, and I was like, when you guys were winning.
I will not lie to you. I hated the McNabb year Eagles. I hated those years. One, the Cowboys were terrible. The Cowboys were terrible. And McNabb, he owned the division. So if that's what he reminds you of, I don't like that. The problem is we still got Dak, and I'm sorry, but Dak he ain't gonna be losing to no NFC East teams. So yeah. I don't know, man. I feel like Eagles fans need to get a grip, man. Y'all might make the playoffs this year. You pretty much control your own destiny, and you control your own destiny because of your quarterback. I mean, no matter how you try and slice it, how you try and shake it, you own your own. I mean, you control your own destiny because of your quarterback. And I mean, it is what it is, man. So
somebody just put a comment up there. I believe it was Phil. Do you believe that Russell Wilson could end up a New York Giant?
Well, yeah, I can see it happening. I think it's gonna. I don't think that. I think it's gonna be like this offseason. If they get Russell Wilson, I'm still not gonna be like, all right, well, they're probably gonna. They may win. If the Giants win 5 games this year or 6 games this year, they'll win 8. They'll go 8-9 with Russell Wilson.
So is it the beginning of the end in Seattle?
I hope not. Well, in Seattle, absolutely. I think this is his last year in Seattle. I don't think he's gonna stay. And I think that Pete Carroll will probably be there maybe another year after. But yeah, I think it's the beginning. I think he won it out last year. But he can't really get out. I think that now they get rid of him. I do see I could see him in New York because he wants to go somewhere where there's spotlight. There's a big spotlight, and I mean he's not really getting that in Seattle. You can't really get that in LA because they got Stafford and Herbert. New York is the only other like big spot. He can't even go to Chicago because they have Fields. And so other than you heard everything you just said with everything you just said about Jalen Hurts and everything. Just take out Jalen Hurts and put it in Tua. You're crazy if you need to build around that guy. One, he doesn't have a running game right now. He doesn't have a run. He doesn't have a steady running game. He has a receiver that he's comfortable with in Waddle. I mean, and they got a tight end. I mean, you build around that guy. You get the O-line together. You continue to build on the defense, and who knows what Tua could do. I mean, he had a crazy injury, and if we're not gonna say, Hurts should be evaluated from this season and not last season, we should do the same with Tua. He was split in time. He was a rookie, and he was just coming off of a gruesome injury. So absolutely, I know I don't think that he should go to Miami. I think that you stay with Tua and you see what you can do, what you could build around them. They're in position to make the playoffs.
Let me ask you this though: if you're Brian Flores and you're looking at your team, right? So this year, Miami's probably not going to make the playoffs.
And they're overachieving.
They're overachieving. But ownership comes to you and says, you know what? Last couple of years, you've done pretty good, but we just don't know if you're the guy. We're going to give you the opportunity to bring in what you need to be successful. Do you have everything you need? Are you staying with Tua or are you bringing in somebody else? Like, are you kicking the tires on Deshaun Watson?
I mean, so here's the thing. See, that's kind of unfair, right? Because do you have everything you need is I don't know if anybody has everything that they need, right? If you can get Aaron Rodgers and you don't have to give up draft, of course you go get Aaron Rodgers. Now, if you get Russell Wilson, I won't say it's of course go get Russell Wilson, but I say okay. I won't. I'm not giving up the whole farm for Russell Wilson.
Okay,
not right now.
Let me rephrase my question.
Mm-hmm.
Would you bet your job on Tua? I would bet my job on Jalen Hurts if I was a coach. If I'm the coach of the Eagles and I'm in the position I'm in, I would bet my job.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. Who drafted Tua? Brian Flores, right?
Yeah.
He already bet his job on Tua. He already did. He drafted him at 5. He could have drafted Justin Herbert. He could have drafted Justin Herbert and he drafted Tua.
But would you, if you were in that position, would you bet your
at
job?
That time, yes. At that time, yes.
No, right now, going into next season, you're betting your job on Tua.
I don't have a choice. Yes, I am. Because I bet my job on him last year, and we did what we had to do. And I am confident in myself as a coach that if we get him, if we surround him with the pieces, then yes, we can make a run in this division, in this conference. Absolutely. Okay, because my thing is this. It's Tua. I know we had this discussion early in the year when we did the preseason stuff, and we're saying was Justin Fields ready? Is Tua ready? Right? I think I don't know if he's completely ready, but I think he's getting there. I think that they're gonna continue to open up the playbook more and more as they develop. I mean, as he builds and develops. But like right now they're just overachieving and they're competing and they're finding ways to win the games. And Tua is part of the reason why they're finding those reasons to win and everything. So if you're gonna believe in Jalen Hurts, you should believe in Tua Tagovailoa.
I don't. But hey, I mean, hey, our opinions can be different. We can agree to disagree.
You don't believe in Tannehill either, and he kicked y'all ass on Thursday. But nonetheless.
Done.
My bad, my bad, man. Y'all shouldn't have lost that game. That's all I got to say. But
yeah, I believe in Baker Mayfield, and every season he proves me right.
Every season?
Hence this cap that I have on. I think he purchased this hat betting on Baker Mayfield.
Oh,
you
want to do that? You want to do that right now? You want to do that right now? Huh? You want to do that? You want to do that? I think I got another one too. Let's not do that. I don't want to do that. I don't. Baker, he's having an off year, and we'll leave it at that. We'll leave it at that. But man, we got some guests coming up. In the next coming weeks. I'm sorry. But this is our last show of 2021. We were home the whole year. We're definitely gonna do a show where we were home the whole year. It's enough of this. We could be home sometimes, but 2022, I think we find our way back to a studio. Hey, and Baker Mayfield could still possibly make the playoffs. So anyway. But yeah, man, this is it for 2021. This is it. This is the last show of 2021. Any words? Any memories of 2021 that you want to keep, that you want to forget? That yeah.
Nah, I'm cool.
He just too cool. Nah, man, but but yeah, I guess we're gonna get out of here because Scott wants to leave, and so it is what it is. I could be here all night. I'm here all night, people. But anyway, this is off the record. I'm Anthony Adebayo. He like, man, yo, let's just get the hell out of here. I ain't gonna know what you guys talking about. All right, y'all, we out of here. Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year, man.
Anthony Adebayo.
With you there, but if you're a coach, do you take that chance?
Yes. You can reach us at the Off the Record Show at gmail.com. Anthony Adebayo, and the most accurate sports coverage. Scotty B's Fantasy 5.
We're different from any other sports.
His sophomore year. Comes back and says, you know what?
And your boy, Scotty B.